Welcome to the final episode of Mol België Season 14 Recaps from Reality TV Warriors. My name is Michael Harmstone, and gracing us with his presence this week is the Canadian who said to us before we started recording that he thought Gilles' version of Fuck, Marry, Kill was a bit too much, Logan Saunders.
Good afternoon.
And the guy who I do have to privately occasionally remind isn't that smart, David Bindley.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good weeks?
Yeah, I guess so. My vacation ended, so back on Canadian soil.
Poor Canada.
Yeah, I mean, good few weeks for you, Saunders, because you've not bothered joining us for 2 or 3 weeks at this point.
Hey, I think it's tradition now. I'm sure I was included on the finale recap.
Not as much as we could. I mean, I told stories about you, like the fact you broke the toilet, but I don't think we actually had your physical presence.
Okay. All right, moving on.
You're not even going to defend yourself on that?
Because it makes us sound like the R word if we go with the toilet story.
Fine. I was expecting a little bit more pushback. I deliberately mentioned it last week so that I maybe or maybe not got a message off you going, I did not break the toilet. You did. The one thing you did miss after I left you, Saunders, is the absolute chaos I had at Schiphol again.
Oh yeah, what happened at Schiphol this time?
I picked the one day of the year that they changed all the security arrangements and went down from 5 security companies to 3. And as a result, it was about an hour and a half to get through security when it should have been 5 minutes.
Oh really? Did you do the QR code thing again too?
Oh yes. It was so bad they were handing out water and street bottles in the queue.
Oh really? I've never experienced that.
Yeah, it was pretty hellish.
Because I would have gone through Schiphol one day later.
Yeah, it was only the Monday, I believe, that was chaotic. But it was that chaotic that there was a live cut from Dutch News, someone filming there.
Oh, really? Saying, oh, it's crazy. There are crazy lines here today.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was a lovely surprise when I got off the train from Antwerp.
Meanwhile, I was stuck on a train in West Flanders that same day. Benelux transportation was not in tip-top shape that day.
Is it ever? Like, they made a joke about it last year.
I mean, the trains are usually not too bad comparatively.
Oh, good.
They're not British trains where I won't touch them with a barge pole.
Mm.
The one story that I didn't tell last week that I did remember was, I'm not even sure if you were aware of this, Saunders, but when I was talking to Michael Mons, he said that he suspected Wout, but he was a little bit worried he was wrong and that it was Julie because of the seating arrangements in the cinema.
Yes, I was there for that. Yeah, he was telling me about that.
So he basically said that every single year, the friends and family of the final 3 sort of sit at the top of the lower balcony with the friends and family for the reveal bit. And every year, the mole is always in the middle and the winner's always on the left. And this year, it was Wout, then Julie, then Maxim. He was worried that it might have been Julie as mole and Wout as winner, rather than the other way around.
Yeah, so even production knows that even something as simple as the seating arrangement in the movie theater is going to be cast with suspicion by the alumni.
Maybe it's just because Wout was so tall they were worried about him blocking the view.
Yeah, maybe. However, unlike you, he did still suspect Wout.
Yeah, he got it right again.
Yeah, unlike you. Leading me on to the next thing that I have a slight bone to pick with you about, and others, it's not just you. There's been a lot of revisionist history in the past few days of going, oh yeah, I always thought it was Wout, but I never actually put him down on the suspect list. Bollocks, you did.
Yeah, I can't remember all the exact suspicions there, but yeah, you did. Of course, you have it in spreadsheets. Yeah, you did. Yeah, I assume you won all both pools this year?
I won the pool and weekly suspicions, and for the first time ever, I won suspect list. Which means you are now the only one of the 3 of us to have never won the suspect list, Saunders.
There's always 2027.
No, there isn't.
Yeah.
You shit at this.
But I'm the only one who's won suspect list with the perfect score.
Yeah, no one gives a shit about that. We're not having this argument again. Doesn't matter. I won when no one wanted me to. That's all that matters. Who cares? So anyway, this brief reunion, because none of us have really got that many notes about it.
One thing that stood out about the reunion, I can't remember watching through a single reunion and saying, yep, Michael clocked every single sabotage by Wout from start to finish.
Yeah, I was thinking about this in the last few days. I don't know what it is about Wout, but I really tuned into him as a mole. And it might just be that we are the same age, for example. It might just be that I'm just very zoned into a later millennial as a mole.
It might just be that you sort of think similar ways.
Yeah, because he played it as I would as a mole a lot of the time.
Yeah, well, that's basically how I found Jurre that year. Because that first week, I heard the challenges and I'm like, okay, how would a mole sabotage this? Made a list of like 5 or 6 ways, and then Jurre did all 5 or 6 of them. Sometimes there's a mole who just sort of is on your wavelength, and then it's like really easy to spot.
Yeah, because a lot of pretty much every single one of his sabotages that we find out about in this episode, I think I did at least call out in some capacity.
Yeah.
And some of the clues as well, which is hilarious.
Yeah, the gardening clue specifically.
Yeah.
Well, the gardening one I was tipped off about, but stuff like the WC sign in the toilet, I clock that. I'm like, suspicious. Doesn't look like it's a permanent sign, and also it's in Braille, which none of the other signs in that bar are.
Yeah.
So, this might be a clue.
But yeah, even the smaller details like Isabel falling off the hanger, you clock that too. That, I bet, where you said, I bet Wout bent the hanger beforehand.
Yeah, because there was discussion in the episode then about whether he was a bit too heavy. And I mean, we've met Wout. He's slightly taller than me, but I don't think he was that heavy. I mean, obviously, there would have been a bit of difficulty for the hanger to sort of support his weight if he was pushing on it too hard, whether he was mole or not. But I don't think the hanger would have bent as much as it actually did from his weight.
I always find it fascinating when, say, the audience, or when, say, you, Michael, or I guess Bindles, you too, really catching on to Wout as the mole, and you pick out all of the individual sabotages, but yet it took a really long time for the contestants themselves to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that was interesting too, that we even figured out that Isabel was likely onto who the mole was before everybody else.
Yeah, it really triggered me with the push the button challenge with Isabel, because I'm like, she is playing this like someone who is not a mole, but who knows who the mole is or is very convinced of who the mole is, because she was testing him. She wanted to work out who the mole was using that challenge, and she did, because Wout played it exactly as you would as a mole.
I was surprised how many times Maxim got saved throughout the season.
Yeah.
Well, we got that implication last week. He wasn't able to tell us how quickly he suspected Wout, and it's like, he probably didn't suspect Wout for a while then.
I think both him and Julie said it was quite late, which it was, but we didn't know that, say, Maxim was supposed to be eliminated twice during the season.
Well, he is a member of Team Bindles, and he has inherited Pedro's spot, so.
There was also that implication that Gilles loves messing with Maxim as well, because we had the remote gag, which is something that people haven't called out on Discord as being another Papa Gilles de Costa Dick moment, but this episode is just full of him being a bit of a teasy prick to a lot of these people.
Do you think Wout wants a rematch on that beach challenge against Gilles one day?
Especially when he publicly called him a loser and privately said that he's dumber than Gilles is. It's just so unnecessary.
Yeah, he even gave him the L on the forehead, too.
Yeah, that was the banner last week. I may have implied to Gilles that I was going to make it him dancing, but no, it was always going to be him with the L.
I'm surprised Greece isn't allergic to Gilles.
Well, there was a joke about that as well, because he forgets to greet Gilles when he walks in alongside the other fallen candidates here.
It's all the pollen in the air.
It's been 5 months since they've all seen each other, and it's time for them to find out who the mole actually is. Isabel's on Wout. She's not 100% sure, but she's pretty sure. Carla's on Julie, then Maxim. Christoph doesn't know, but he'd say Wout. Abigail thinks Julie, but she's not sure why. Yanis had a revelation 2 weeks ago, and now thinks that it's Wout. Vincent would guess Julie, but absolutely not Wout. Jana's on Wout, and Dries thinks it's Julie, then Maxim. And Mighty says she's on Wout, but she's not been a good detective. And I was right last week. It was indeed Wout's wedding suit that he was wearing for the reveal. I thought it was. And Kenny Bolus as well.
Yeah, he really likes that suit.
The evening before the opening challenge, Gilles goes to visit him in his hotel room. He said he considered making himself a shooter, but chose the Yans because they are competitive, and Jurre did Paracommando, which we did say during the episodes. By we, I mean me. He said he wanted to look like he was giving it 100% and get loads of books, but then fail, and he practiced dodging the arrows. Again, called him out for that. Interestingly, the books weren't rigged. He genuinely could have been in the taxi after the first episode. One of two very interesting production choices there, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know how you could rig it, though.
Well, they could have just not put his book in the stack. They could have not had a bag for his book.
But then you would have noticed there were 7 instead of 8. Like they could have put, doubled up somebody else's book, but then you've run the risk of drawing them twice.
Yeah, I think there were ways that they could have done sleight of hand and not let his book be picked.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past this show to try something like that, put it that way. In the port challenge, he obviously dodged the stream. He was told no one picked him on the first test. On the burial challenge, he planned to give as much information on the phone and get as little back as possible. He was even left alone on the beach, and as a result did 3 extra calls just to waste more time and money.
It's funny that they all knew that there were extra calls, but they couldn't. They just refused to entertain the idea that it was Wout doing the extra calls.
He just was a very trustworthy guy, evidently.
I think it also helped that there was so much suspicion on Dries, too, that they were all suspecting Dries, so that it was Dries' fault for not being the best person to talk to during the challenge.
Yeah, because it's funny that, there's like, okay, we've got 12 calls. Where did they come from? And nobody thought to ask Carla and Dries who was calling them.
Well, it would have only been Dries who knew. Because this was one of the 2 big mystery losses of the season. It was that and the toilet challenge where we still don't know where 5 of the flushes were.
Yeah, that one we know didn't come from Wout because he said that was going to be his sabotage, but then it got clocked right away by Julie and Yana. So he's like, well, I guess I can't make it too obvious.
At the double execution challenge, he wanted to be in the first round and give everyone permission to push the button in future ones, so asked for Strength to be the first duel. And apparently afterwards, everyone kept coming up to him and telling him who they actually suspected.
That one, I'm surprised that there wasn't one person who thought, maybe the person who pressed the button first should deserve some suspicion.
Well, this is the thing. This is not the only time this season that he pushed the button first to give everyone permission to cost the pot money. He didn't personally cost the pot that much money in that, but he then gave permission for everyone else to, and as a result got a bigger drain.
Yeah, it's just amazing that nobody else really thought to put any sort of suspicion on Wout. I think the second time when Wout pressed the button, I believe that's when Isabel was really starting to look at him.
Yeah, I think she was using that challenge to sort of test her suspicions on who the mole was, and as soon as he pushed the button in the second round, it's like, that then means that everyone's going to push in the third round.
Yeah.
I think it became fairly obvious to her.
Yeah, it's a shame that with the mole, I wouldn't really say a flaw in the game per se, but yeah, it's got to be frustrating for players that you want to see succeed, that even if that person is the first to correctly unmask the mole for the remainder of the season, that many times they don't end up winning the game in the end.
Yeah, I think Isabel's main weakness was just not doing enough notes.
Which is funny when they talked about her having the most detailed notes of any contestant out there. But Maxim and Julie, they were pretty much the 2 youngest contestants in the cast, right? Or 2 of the youngest?
Yeah, it was them and Maite who were the 26-year-olds.
So, I mean, that's much closer to being in school or especially university where they have the skill of exam taking very recently. And I'm going to venture a guess that it's been a while since Isabel has consistently studied and taken exams.
Who knew Isabel not paying attention to people would be a plot point?
Yeah, true. I said this last week, but Wout is the equal second oldest mole of the reboot as well, at 33.
Yeah, and it could be also a thing of contestants who are closer in age are bound to maybe spend a bit more time together or have more things in common. Therefore, you get more details about the mole in the process.
Yeah.
Maxim and Julie may be spending more extensive time with Wout than Isabel would, for instance.
And as Bindles said, probably Maxim and Julie were actually asking questions to Wout rather than going, well, I don't care about you.
Yeah. You're the mole, that's all I need to know.
As opposed to Finland, where the Final Four at the moment has an average age of 48 or something.
Yeah, Finland was ancient this season.
So I think Maxim had about half of the cast as his prime suspect on the quizzes until pretty much only Wout was left for him to guess.
Yeah, he was the only person this season who had worse suspicions than you did, I think.
When did he start suspecting Wout? Oh yeah, the bull ring challenge, so final 5. I'm guessing he clocked Wout because he found it out of character with how stubborn Wout was during the exemption duel.
Yeah, because he wasn't going to let Maxim take $5,000.
And then Maxim thought, Wout knew I would take $5,000, therefore that's really suspicious. So it reminds me of the one botched sabotage that Van Boel had in Argentina, where he went a bit too stubborn in that Passfragen challenge, I think.
Yeah.
Where when it was down to 5 or 6, and then everybody clocked him after that because Van Boel said, oh no, I was way too aggressive there. And this was a case where Wout went too aggressive and ended up in the crosshairs of somebody who didn't even consider him being the mole for the entire season up to that point.
So at the rally challenge, he wanted to be volunteered as the driver, and he volunteered in the previous days to drive everyone, so they trusted him to do it. He let himself get bumped a few times and had a realistic fail. And as he said to me, he did not stall the car, which is the one sabotage of his that I actually got incorrect, I think, all season. In the City of the Blind, he led Maxim towards the wrong book, and he'd prepared for the dictation and kept getting spelling mistakes to set off Jana's alarm, and that was the only round that actually failed in terms of her getting tagged, and he made 16 mistakes compared to Yanis and Dries' 9 each. As we said, his plan at the toilet escape room was to try and flush as much as possible, but Jana and Julie clocked that was a correct sabotage, so instructed him not to do it, and it would have been too suspicious had he done it. On the slack line, he went second to last and hung his full weight on the hanger to try and sabotage Isabel. He then, when he got back, saw some pliers and stretched out the hanger even more to try and make the old lady fall off the slack line.
What? Somewhere Paul Asleson is salivating.
In Lisbon, as suspected, he wasted time touching the table, and they'd already wasted a third of the time before both of them actually put their hands down. And while Julie wasn't looking, as I said he probably did, he did keep taking his hands off the table. I felt very smug watching this reunion, just going, yep, clock that, yep, clock that, yep, clock that.
You feel very smug at the best of times.
Even when I'm wrong, which is arguably quite a lot of the time. Because as Saunders probably missed because he didn't listen to last week's episode, 40 minutes after I sent my thank you email to Gilles and Isabel, I got an email back off Gilles saying he was still in shock that I got it right for once.
How many people do you think Christoph spread on that quiz? It sounded like he was spreading across the entire cast.
It must have been quite a few.
He wasn't just spreading on this cast, he was spreading on the cast of FC de Kampioenen.
The problem for Christoph is he drank so much port that he was still a little bit drunk from that challenge, even though it was like 2-3 days later.
I mean, it's impressive that he went because there were, 2 or 3 contestants who went all in on that same quiz, and yet he still went home. That means he must have had to be at least 5 people that he spread across, maybe even 6.
Well, it's very interesting because they don't usually confirm who did worst in a double execution. The only other time I can think of them actually confirming it was Germany, but even then I don't think they confirmed it. I think it was heavily implied, but I don't think they confirmed it because it was only heavily implied because they said who would have gone home in episode 1, and it was one of the 2 people who went home in episode 2. So I think this might actually be the first time they've confirmed who went home first in the double execution, actually score-wise.
Yeah, that Dries would have gone home instead of Carla if he didn't get the pass Froggen.
Well, not just that, the fact that Christoph did worse than Carla. Because that was pretty much stated in that segment.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Gilles said that Dries would have gone home instead of Carla, which says to me that Christoph would have gone home regardless.
Yeah.
Can you recall another time where a contestant said, I don't even have a suspect like 3 episodes in, and they're just pretty much just spreading across everybody?
Yeah, you contrast that with Yanis, who has one suspect, gung-ho, full beans, don't even understand the word spreading. Just go straight headfirst into inevitably going home in 5th place. So Wout didn't know the times in the bullring challenge, which was something that was also speculated because of the way that Gilles was phrasing his sentences. There was a theory that maybe he had told Wout who put the red cloth down. Apparently he didn't. But he did ask to practice with a mechanical bull to stay in as long as possible. He never would have let Maxim go to the exemption or money dilemma. But if Maxim had relented, he would have obviously gone for the exemption.
I wonder how many, just if there are neighbors next to this production house where moles practice all the challenges beforehand, if eventually somebody's going to figure out where this house is.
I think it's probably possible for people to figure out where the archery practice took place, because that looked like an actual soccer field with like advertising and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and the mechanical bull looked like it was just in a field at a farm somewhere. So I presume it was a favour called in of some description going, you're a friend of a friend, you've got a large open space where we could practice this. Could we bring a mechanical bull, please? So he didn't mean to score in the football game. He gave loads of bad passes despite being a footballer himself, and he expects that his football club will bench him for a few episodes given how terribly he played. On the bike ride, he wanted to stand at the back so no one would be looking at him, hence letting them win the surfboard. In the Beat Gilles challenge, he knew that Gilles was the hardest to beat in that last challenge, and Gilles even trolled him while Julie and Maxim were listening to Sex on the Beach by telling him he wasn't as smart as Gilles is. He took over 2 minutes longer than Gilles did. And at the tile wall, he let the Gilles tile fall, and obviously through the 5K challenge. He could already hula hoop as his sister had one growing up. He didn't even need to practice.
I wonder if it hurt him a little bit on the inside how poorly he was doing with the hula hoop.
I mean, your opinions of Wout may slightly vary, but I get that he was very competitive and that he was competitive in the role that he was playing. I don't think it hurt him that much for any of his sabotages apart from the push the button game where he felt like he was letting people down a bit.
Yeah.
I think this might be another reason why I kind of tuned into his frequency a little bit, in that he wore his heart on his sleeve. And I am someone who, you know how I'm feeling in any situation. I don't hide my emotions. So I think just Wout and I are probably very similar personalities, which is why I clocked him.
Oh God, I just realized that means I've got similar personality to that fuckwit Jurre.
Yep. You are indeed the only person we know who would go on safari to take pictures of animals' arseholes. So for the hidden clues in the fort, Gilles' intro said the first thing to do to find the mole is to get acquainted, and Wout was the first person to introduce himself. I think that was clocked. His initials were also on the toilet door, as I mentioned. It was also hidden in Morse codes with the seats before the football match, saying WDM in the dark seats. That's such a good clue, because nobody clocked that, I think. When Isabel fell on the slackline, the song The Gardener by the Tallest Man on Earth played. Gilles also couldn't shut up about the gardener, as he referred to it with a proverb every single episode, and Wout, in a confessional, halfway through the season, said Wout de Mol. And he has one final secret to share, that his wife is pregnant and due at the end of November.
So he is going to be a Papa Bear.
He is. He's the newest Papa Bear. And annoyingly, I found that out after we had already spoken to Wout, because otherwise I would have obviously congratulated him.
Yeah. You would have demanded to be the godfather.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, after we spoke to everyone, I then followed the final 3 off the podcast Instagram account. Because I thought they know us, they're probably going to accept us now. And Gilles gets Maxim to press play on the suspicions, but then trolls him, as it is not the waitress's button earring, but a remote control that obviously controls the next video. Such a dick moment.
Imagine the waitress saying, "Ah, my ear." Damn you, West Flanders.
Did they just make a bunch of those earrings, or like? Because I thought, didn't one of the contestants end up with it?
Yana had it, yeah.
Yeah.
But she only had one of them, so maybe they made two of them, and this was the way of introducing the second one. So most people spread on week 1, but obviously not Yanis. He went all in on Maxim. Dries' tunnel, as I think he said in his confessional at the time, was full of neon-lit arrows towards Christoph. No one suspected Wout, and Abigail only survived because of her 2 Passfragen. Maxim was on Dries in episode 2, but luckily for him, he didn't have to do the test. Dries, Abigail, and Carla were on Christoph, while Christoph spread and didn't have a main suspect. Dries was very shocked and saved himself with the 2 Passfragen he won, sending Carla home. Isabel was the only one who suspected Wout in episode 3. He has a reputation of it not being him, but she's ruling nothing out. Julie, Maxim, and Abigail suspected Dries, and Abigail was only beaten by Maxim on time.
I love that, like, Giannis made a point of being like, well, it can't be Wout because he chose the money. And then the person doing the interview had to tell him, it doesn't matter if you choose the money if you don't win it.
Yeah. Yeah, like, this was Wout's MO all season, was being in those hero positions and never earning the money that he's expected to. Maxim continued his Dries suspicions in episode 4, but Yanis was still on Maxim, and Yana was on Yanis as his Dries. He didn't suspect Julie or Wout, and Isabel was the only one on Wout again, and increasingly so, and she even clocked him sabotaging the coat hanger. Interesting. I think that's the first time that I'm aware of that we've seen a contestant who doesn't win go, yeah, I spotted a sabotage there, and I was right. Julie and Maxim had to recalibrate everything, which changed their suspicions. Maxim towards Yanis and Julie finally towards Wout. Yana went all in on Yanis too, and as a result went home. When Wout refused to let Maxim take the choice in the bull ring, he then started suspecting Wout, joining Julie and Isabel in suspecting him. Julie put 80% on Wout and 20% on Yanis, and Yanis was stubbornly on Maxim until he went home. At Final 4, everyone was on the correct mole, and Isabel went home because she had to make some unlucky guesses. And in the finale test, Maxim got 27 out of 30, but Julie got 29 out of 30, breaking the winner's perfect streak.
I think the funniest one for me was that one confessional where drunk Maxim said that Wout could never be the mole because he's so handsome. I'm like, that's the exact opposite of my usual strategy.
Yeah, I thought that was a very you confessional. It's like, he's got to be the mole. He's too hot.
All right, Joel Dommett, calm down.
Maxim finally clocks Wout when he's hungover during the bull ring challenge. Who knew that hangover would lead to the best judgment possible?
I do think it's very interesting that the 2 big opportunities that we see for Wout to get information from Gilles, he doesn't this time. Because he doesn't find out who did the red cloth. It's just his instinct that was correct constantly, which inherently makes him more suspicious. And then there was the one slightly earlier in the season where we all expected him to get the prior information, and he never does.
I guess Wout's way of operating was also just having a really good read on all of the personalities in the group.
Yeah. Not to make it all about me again, but I've always said that my tactic, if I was to be mole, would be to get as little information as possible. To obviously know roughly what's coming up, but not get any specifics, because you then can't betray any information that you shouldn't have.
You see, I just left my first therapy session and I haven't even opened my mouth yet.
I mean, inherently, this is almost 600 episodes. I mean, I think historians will maybe be one short of 600 episodes of this podcast. And yes, it is basically my therapy session. But also, a lot of the time it's all about me. And the sooner you lot accept this, the better.
I'm surprised how late in the season Yanis was still being suspected, even though he was a top money earner this season.
Yeah, I think he's just inherently a bit of a delightful weirdo. And that is kind of the sort of person they might think about picking.
Yeah.
Because on paper, Yanis is one of those people, I think, who you would go, maybe he should be the mole. He would be fun as the mole.
He's kind of the spiritual successor to Bart.
Yeah, there's definitely some shared DNA with Bart there, I would say. Interestingly, Bart's one of the few people we've I don't think we've ever actually met Bart, have we, Saunders?
No, because I was looking for him at the reunion.
Yeah, we've spoken to him, but I don't think we've ever met him.
I think he's the only alumni we've ever done an online podcast with since we started covering this series.
Yeah, well, he is, because we couldn't speak to him in person because of COVID. I mean, we would love to, obviously, if Bart is at a finale and he hears this message, please come and talk to us, because we genuinely want to say hello to you. You're a legend.
I mean, that goes for most of these people, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone who we've even encountered alumni-wise who we would want to speak to again. There's maybe some alumni who aren't as confident speaking to us as others, but
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone who would turn away and say, no, we don't want to speak to you.
Except for maybe Kathy.
Oh no, Logan's legally not allowed to speak to Kathy after the incident.
I keep getting my visa into Greece rejected year after year after year after year.
I do love how the Kathy restraining order joke has kind of fallen by the wayside in terms of Jill's favourite things to joke about with you because of the horse joke now.
Did he make a horse joke this year?
Oh yeah, he made one when he emailed Logan back about the finale date, and we also discussed at length about Logan getting the DTs because there wasn't a horse in the vicinity.
I did tell him about the story in Vernon about the guy banging the horse.
Yeah, who goes by the pseudonym Sogan Launders.
Homer? Who is Homer?
So Julie says she's going to use the money to treat everyone to something fun, the traditional answer other than obviously donate money to Rocky's charity. And Jill also treats everyone to an Alentejo of the Mol logo dropping Wouts because it's funny.
Just once I would like somebody to spend the money on something completely selfish, ridiculous, and maybe even a little bit illegal.
I must admit, I'm disappointed that the Vidum joke of I'm going to donate some money to Rocky's charity has gone away because it was always my favourite one to make.
You say these people should do something really selfish. I mean, Bernard got a new kitchen, so now Senna is cooking with his mother.
And obviously, the montage is basically just full of Papa Bear shots that are trying to bait me into making them the banner, including a video of him dancing again, courtesy of all the contestants, and him saying, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you to all the crew, and love you to the dancers.
I'm surprised Donna and Logan weren't included in the fuck yous in that montage.
It's heavily implied, Saunders. And that is the season.
What a fun season.
Yeah, I said this on Discord when I finished watching the reunion yesterday. This reunion, more than any other, I think, everyone just felt nice.
Yeah.
I know they have a policy of we don't travel with arseholes, but it really felt like they didn't travel with any arseholes this time.
Yeah.
And I think that also extends to Wout. I think maybe Wout is the nicest mole that we've seen. And that's not to say that anyone else is not nice, but...
Yeah, Van Boel's listening to this saying, what the hell did you say about me, you son of a bitch?
Van Boel's just going to send me the gif of Gilles saying, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. But...
and then you send back a gif of him getting electrocuted by that car again.
Yeah. Obviously, I think Wout is probably the closest to his own personality as Mole that we've seen. I don't think there is much difference between civilian Wout and Mole Wout. Maybe he's a little bit more sort of mustache twirling as Mole.
Senna's cried in the corner when you say that.
I don't think there's a lot of difference between Wout in his real life and Wout on the Mole. I think he was very authentic to himself.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I quite like Wout as a Mole. I don't know if I'd looked at this cast and had to pick somebody to be the Mole, I don't know whether Wout would have been my first choice. But I'm not mad that they picked it.
Yeah.
Who would have been your first choice?
Maybe Julie?
Isabel.
Oh well, I mean obviously Isabel, because we need an old lady Mole for once.
Yeah.
But I think there are a lot of good choices for a Mole this season, even if none of them were going to be the sort of like really like top tier moles like Senna and Leonard. I think that like there are probably like a solid 6 or 7 who sort of fit into that next tier where, you're not going to be mad when they're revealed as the mole. But I don't think anyone here would have been, a top tier mole.
Yeah. I think it goes back to the argument I make a lot of the time that I don't think it matters who the mole is in Valkyria as much.
Yeah.
I think as long as the mole makes sense in the end, and as long as it feels like they're authentic to themselves, I think you can make an argument for pretty much any mole in Belgium. And occasionally you get the bright spots like a Senna or a Lena who really are ballsy. And Wout is a very ballsy mole, as we saw. But I don't think he's as ballsy as a Senna or a Lena, where arguably they were very cocky behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think Wout was. I think Wout felt very mischievous, but not balls to the wall cocky.
Yeah. I wonder if part of it is Wout was basically just never really left alone to do a lot of the things like Senna did. Like that challenge in Sicily with Senna taking the extra steps. We never really got a chance for Wout to do something like that. Like the closest we get is the coat hanger and then maybe taking his hands off the table, but everything else is sort of in sight of A, the other players, and B, us as viewers. So I think he had a harder time trying to do stuff sneakily just because of the challenge design this season.
I think also he was maybe slightly hampered by being so trusted.
Yeah.
Because they were giving him so much rope. He kind of didn't need to do as much sneaky shit as people who were suspected a lot earlier. Because God love her, Isabel was probably not telling anyone she was suspecting Wout. She was probably not pushing the group discussion away from trusting him like a Bernard would, for example.
Yeah.
And I get that that's part of the trying to win bit of the game. But the problem is because everyone else trusted him, he didn't really need to do a lot of the more sneaky stuff that a mole has occasionally needed to do.
I'm surprised we didn't get any footage of anyone testing that crane drop.
Van Bull did.
Ah.
I think he posted it on Instagram. I don't think it was actually in the episode, but Van Bull definitely did it.
Oh, good.
What are your thoughts, Saunders?
No, I agree with a lot of that. I don't really have anything specific to add. I think Wout was fit with the whole motif of this season.
Yeah. I think there's also an element this season as a whole of trying to get back to what worked. Because Thailand worked, but I think Thailand was very difficult for everyone involved. I think there was a lot of stuff that they didn't love in Thailand necessarily, the way it shook out. And I think Wout feels very much like a more traditional mole that they would pick.
Yeah.
I think that you could tell if you watched Jill in the finale for Thailand versus the finale in Portugal. I think there is a bit of a difference there in terms of you could just sense that production was very happy entering that final round in Portugal, as opposed to Thailand, where Thailand felt like they were just trying to get that across the finish line. Well, not to the extreme of, say, like Canary Island season, where everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong, but...
Yeah, I think Gilles felt a lot more playful this season as well, generally.
Yeah.
Especially towards the end of the season. But it felt like Gilles was having a lot more fun. It felt like he was a lot more relaxed. So, anything else to say about the season?
Oh, I liked it.
I think we covered it all.
Yeah. Where would you rank it now? I'm kidding. Given I've gone on a crusade against people ranking moles and seasons. I don't think... I mean, personally, I couldn't rank mole seasons, certainly for België, and moles, certainly for België, because there's a lot of my personal feelings about the people we've spoken to involved in them. Like, even if Vietnam wasn't a good season, I would always have a strong love of Vietnam because we went to our first finale there, and it holds a lot of really fun memories.
Yeah.
Mexico's at the bottom?
I don't know. Because I think Peter's a very underrated mole. I'm not ranking seasons. You're not forcing me to do this, Saunders.
Canary Islands at the bottom?
Canary Islands is at the bottom, you're right. But
I like Canary Islands.
I like it. I just think it's a bit of a tough season to talk about.
Canary Islands is just like its own. It's like a case study in a laboratory rather than a season that was able to play out. It's a fascinating spectacle of its own of just how do you get a season across the finish line when everything outside of production's control ends up going wrong.
Yeah. I think it's sort of interesting that they had a strong theme for Vietnam. They had a strong theme for Greece with like the mythology stuff. They've had a strong theme for Germany. Arizona's got the movie thing. Sicily's got pretty strong theming as well. Canary Islands is basically, isn't this a nice place to go for a holiday?
Well, not for half the cast that got injured or traumatized.
Only if you listen to their strict instructions, like don't hold on to this clip, or don't run on loose rock, that sort of thing.
Or don't put yourself in a very stressful role if you have anxiety issues.
Yeah.
Who knew the floor was actually lava?
Live finales, as we've learned from Jeff Probst, may not work out the way you want it to.
Or maybe they did work out the way you wanted them to, and you just don't want to do a live finale, Probst.
Go have a seat over there, Rizzo.
The other thing about Wout that does need mentioning, and this is something that came out, I think, after we recorded last week, Bindles, is the fact he was an alternative for Thailand.
Oh.
He had his bags packed for Thailand, if anyone dropped out.
As a contestant?
Yeah. Which means he is now at least the second person that we know of who was an alternate for one season and then became the mole in the next season.
Philippe being the other.
Correct. So I think that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just kind of casually drops it in an interview that he was the alternate for Thailand.
I hope Philippe is doing well. I know he'll always get ragged on in the mole community for being the one guy who had to drop out of the role, but at least he served his purpose of showing just how stressful of a role it really is. Which almost broke Wout a couple times during the season, where he felt bad for not letting the group have as much money as they could.
I quite like Philippe. I think he was better at being the mole than like 5 out of 7 US moles.
That's it's a low bar.
Yeah.
So, should we talk about what's next then?
Yeah, I suppose we could troll Fuzzy a little bit.
The Mole New Zealand, right?
Yep, Mol New Zealand Season 2. We've actually gone into the archives in Christchurch or wherever it is just to watch it ourselves personally.
Yeah.
We did a heist.
I don't think anyone's going to guess it this time. I'll be honest. Because coming in autumn for the correct part of the world and spring for the Southern Hemisphere is Season 1 of Mole Australia.
I'm so excited.
Yep,
what?
We are not doing Vidum this time. For the first time in years. 2020 was the last time we did a mole season that wasn't Vidum, and that was België, as historians.
Yeah, so you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for Sri Lanka, Fuzzy.
Yeah, and South Africa, unfortunately. No poor Dad Janine yet.
Yeah. No Oman, no Portugal, no Tanzania. Well, that one probably won't ever be historians, but, you know.
Yep. So yeah, next historians is going to be a little bit different.
We all got to put on our bowlers and celebrate the next season of historians like it's Y2K.
Yeah. So it might not be Mole New Zealand, but we are still going to a South Island.
Yes, and this is also obviously a way for us to find an excuse to talk to Grant Bowler at some point. Yeah. Just putting it out there, we would quite like to speak to Grant. Just as, even though we've not covered either of his series, we'd love to speak to Glenn at some point.
Yeah.
Making no secret of that.
They were in Canada.
They were, and you got it cancelled because you lived like 5 minutes away from it at one point.
Is that why there were no horses that season?
Yeah.
Oh no, there was a horse because it was in the bar.
And the question Fuzzy wants to know the answer to is, how could she have known, Bindles?
Oh, so many ways. I kind of just want to just leave it at that. Like, we made direct quotes from the season a few times. I don't remember all of them, but the one that was really notable that we sort of highlighted was when we said they were suitably disgraced, which nearly became an episode title one week, until I had to point out to Michael that that was a clue, because one of the contestants says that they were suitably disgraced at the Sports Champion Challenge. When we first announced that Historians was recording, I repeatedly said it's going to be a fun one, like emphasis on one. We've referenced a few of the challenges. We've mentioned stalling during a race as a sabotage idea, which is, again, that Sports Champion Challenge. We mentioned the skydive and the hostage rescue sort of back to back pretty quickly. And, just in case you thought, well, it might be, one of the other seasons that's done those sort of challenges, we also explicitly mentioned Hitchcock Hotel to make you think of Australia, even though that's from a different season than this. Last week, we talked about using like a relay challenge as an excuse to do the nostalgic clips, which is one of the things this season pioneered, not with running, but with cycling. I've also hinted on Discord that we were trying to think of another way to use like all of the photos I took in Tasmania for last year's Historians as a clue for this year's. And I'm like, I don't need another way to bullshit that as a clue because it's the clue. I kept pushing Michael to say he only had one player left on his team. Just for fun, I sent Fuzzy a photo one week on the Discord telling her, this is a clue, good luck working it out. It was a photo of the Pokemon Hoot Hoot, which one of you actually did clock, and I was very disappointed.
It was Fuzzy, and she asked her brother.
Yeah.
What Pokemon number 163, I think it was. And she then sent a gif of Hoot Hoot, which was correct, Fuzzy. You actually got the first step of that clue.
I mean, we could make a big deal about, it's an overly complicated thing like all of the other ones, like Doug Savant and the numbers and all of that sort of stuff. It's just there's two separate challenges in the season that players describe as a hoot.
My personal favourite one was last week's number 12 as well.
So last year, square number 12 on the bingo board, was slightly different each week to highlight that it was season 12 of Vidum. This year, I was using like a completely different picture every week. There's, I think, 4 of them that ended up being clues. Basically, the 4 after we started recording. There's one week where it showed Gordon Ramsay, which the Gordon Dam is visited in Tasmania. One week showed last year's mole Sarah, which was Sarah Island, where they do the camping challenge. And just in case you didn't realise it, the photo was Sarah pointing at herself to make it even more obvious. And nobody clocked it. One week where I just didn't change the image at all, and the hint was, well, there's one normal one. And then episode 7, so nothing beats a JetTui holiday. The correct squares that Fuzzy got had photos of a JetTui plane. The incorrect pictures had photos of a Jetstar plane. And then square number 12 had a row of like tail fins for an airline that like wasn't identified in the photo. But if you sort of worked it out, those were photos of an Ansett Australia plane, which was the sponsor of this season.
And the company who provided the plane for the skydive.
Yeah.
And Bindles actually messaged me to say, is this a little too obvious? And I'm like, nah, she won't get it.
Yeah, no. Turns out she didn't. I have too much faith in you, Fuzzy. We also mentioned Logan not getting a gold medal for punctuality, and gold meaning both first and also in the spirit of rerunning the fun, like we've been talking about this season, doing the chemical symbol AU, which is short for Australia. So it's Australia 1. And my personal favourite clue, you know how I've been obsessed with heated rivalry this season?
I'm aware.
Yeah. So we had a few sort of references to heated rivalry throughout the season, up to and including the LA Raiders show last week, because one of the main characters plays for the Boston Raiders. So the whole point of heated rivalry is basically 2 rivals who, fall in love and carry on an affair in secret for years and years and years. What's the ultimate rivalry on this show if not contestant versus mole? And then what season has had a reveal recently where we found out the contestant and the mole had been in a relationship for years? It's this one.
For decades.
Yeah. So that's fun.
So, yeah, we've got that to look forward to in probably September. Depends when we finish recording it, to be honest.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like Grant Bowler.
Yeah.
I mean, we've made no secret of the fact we like Grant as a host anyway, but especially in his sort of original guise.
Yeah. I think he's better as a mole host than he is as an Amazing Race host.
Yeah, but Mole doesn't have him stroking a cheetah cub.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the best images ever taken on television. So anything else to say about this season?
No, I think we covered it all.
Good.
So, Japan for season 15?
Well, I was trying to pitch it to Jill, wasn't I?
He said no to Canada very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, most people say no to Canada because they've seen what you're like.
The scary thing is Logan's just a screensaver.
Yeah. Logan's an entry-level weirdo in Canada.
On that note...
Anyway.
What a perfect place to end the season.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to our Mol België Season 14 recaps all season long. We will be back in autumn to begin our second historian season of the year, Mol Australia Season 1. Don't forget you can contact us on pretty much every social media platform that isn't TikTok, where we are RTV Warriors, or you can email us and contact at rtvwarriors.com. You can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/rtvwarriors, and you will also get early access to episodes of the upcoming historian season when I announce what the release date is going to be. Thank you, as always, to the Legion of Subtitlers for this season. We'll see you very soon.
Peace out and just chill till the next flavoring.
It really is going to be a fun one.